Welcome all. So this is just a assignment video which I am just recording. I have got a requirement from one of my friend and he needs. I think he has received some set of assignment that he need to submit. Okay, so I thought let's record this also. So there are four basic assignment. Okay, so if you can see creating in the first assignment it is mentioned like creating new employee component. So steps are also given like we can create new project with ng new. So if you can see I have just created a new project. It's a brand new project. Okay, with the ng new. Then my project name was etruka. Then I have compiled that using ngso. So this step is generated. So next thing is we have to create one component, ng generate component. Let's name it as employee. So let's do that. So for that, let's create a folder first in apps components. Here we will keep all our components. Ng generate c employee. So you can use the short form also, G for generate, C for component. So after pressing enter, you can see 4 files have been created and one file has been updated. That is app module. Okay. So here we got the 4 files and app module is being updated with the declaration. Let's see what is the next. After removing existing code from app component, add the selector of the new component. So selector is nothing but decorator. Inside the decorator, we have one selector property. This is just a unique identifier of our employee component. So as mentioned there, we have to remove everything what we get with the basic project and put it our employee selector. Let's save it. Okay, so you can see employee component is rendered. Let's see what next is there. In the employee component of HTML, add the code to create a table with the above fields. Okay, so these are the above fields. So let's create a table first in employee component. Table. Let's first. So let's say they have mentioned like we have to use the Bootstrap. Let's use S3 employee. We'll just copy paste now some things. Table. So we have T head. This will be fixed one. Then we will have one TR. Inside that we will have multiple TDs. Let's copy paste. Let's see what are the fields we have. Employee ID, first name, last name. Let's copy paste things from here only. That will save our time. This is just a sample assignment. It is kind of for the fresher one only. By experience it will go into deep. Okay, so that's it. In the first assignment we just have to create an employee component and create a table. The one thing is remained like to apply the bootstrap. So this is just a basic project. So if I save and show it to you, this is just basic thing. We don't have any bootstrap classes applying here because bootstrap is not installed yet. So let's install bootstrap. npm bootstrap. Let's get the command from that. So the latest version is 5.1. Okay, so let's use the previous one, that is 4.6.1. That is the stable one. 5 point has just been released. So this is the command npm I, and this is along with the version. So I can run this command, creating new terminal. Okay, so what it will does, it will fetch the bootstrap library along with the version 4.6.1, and it will install that into our node module folder. With the same, it will update the package.json also. Okay, so when we install any library from the npm, it does two things: first installing and updating the package.json. So let me open the package.json. You can see entry has been added here. Okay, so this is the first thing we have done. Next thing, let's check now if it is the classes are applying or not. No, it is still not, because we have just installed the Bootstrap application. We haven't applied the css into our Angular application. To do that, we have to use angular.json. So we have a style section in angular.json. Here we have to add our path to the bootstrap.cs. Let's check they have given it. Let's search more to save our time. Yes. So we just have to provide the path from our node module folder where it is being installed. So let's save it. Let's see if it is compiled properly or not. Yes. Yes. Let's add Bootstrap classes. So basic Bootstrap classes are table, then table, bordered, table. Let's save it first. No, I think Bootstrap classes are not applying. Let's check why. I think we have to again compile because angular.json is updated. So let's run it again. So yes, after adding this reference to in our style section, it is successfully running. So now you can see table has taken the complete width. Let's check what it is. Okay, so it needs a background color. So I think we have a class in Bootstrap itself. Table dark. Let's check it out. Okay, so same structure we have created. Let's move to second step. So assignment 1 is completed. Now let's move to assignment 2. Bind data to the employee component. So bind data, perform the following operation. Under the employee folder, create a new file, employee.ts. So let's create new file in employee component, new file, employee.ts. Okay, so what after that? And file create an employee interface. So it has they have asked to create an interface to hold all these properties. So to create interface, export interface I employee. So we can start the interface name with the I, since it is an interface. Okay, it is just a standard practice. Let's create all the properties: employee ID, its data type, number, first name, last name, salary. It will be string. Let me create all of the properties. Okay, so interface is created. If you can see, I employee with all the properties mentioned. Let's see after that. Import the import.ts in employee. There's asked to import this file into our employee component. Let's import from. So you can see once I pressed dot and hyphen, so you can see I got the employee.ts. Inside that we have to use the employee. Create an employee object in employee.component.ts and store the dummy employees data. Okay, so what it has asked, create an employee object in employee component.ts to store dummy employee data. So what they need, like we have to create and variable which will hold the data, employee data. Okay, so let's employee list. Its data type will be our interface I employee, and it will be type of array. Okay, so the error, like, it is not initialized. So in constructor, rather than in constructor, we can create a method add demo employee this dot employee list is equal to square bracket. Here we can add our employees. So you can see, since we have created the interface just by pressing control space, we get all the properties. So let's say 23rd. String is not assignable to type date. Let's make it as a string only, because we don't have the date object and we cannot store something like that. Email demo@gmail.com. When we have employee ID, let's make it 1. First name demo, last name student, salary. Okay, so this is our first object. Let's create 2 more. Okay, so we have added 3 list: demo2, demo2, student2, student3, demo3. Okay, let's vary the record also. ID2, employee ID 3. Instead of student, it should be employee. So we have to initialize it in constructor list dot employee list is equal to empty. Then in constructor itself, we have to call this method add employee date. So this variable will be filled with basic records. Let me minimize this. Then it has asked in action property, they has asked to create edit employee and the update employee, and a boolean variable show employee data in employee component.ts. Okay, and set the value of the variable show edit to false. So we need one variable show edit, that will be again of boolean. Default value to false. We can make use of a constructor to initialize value. Then they has asked to create edit employee and update employee. So let's create edit employee function. All function like basic function like add, edit, and all those things should be after, we should create it after all ng on it, because constructor, then initialization function, then ng on it, then we can have all the functions. Update employee. Okay, so we have created 2 employees. Now set the value of variable show edit to false. Implement the logic. 2 methods, edit employee and is that edit employee. So they has asked, like, when this show edit variable is true, edit employee button should be visible. When show edit is false, we should show update employee button. Pretty simple. So before that, we need to bind this, because in next assignment they have asked to bind this using star employee list using ng for and everything. So we can bind the same. So using ng for directive, after t head we can make use of the t body. We will need one tr inside that. So we can use ng for on this tr star ng for, let's create let emp of employee data. So here we can use curly bracket interpolation to map everything. Let's make copy paste and bind everything. Okay, so I have bind the basic things. Let's save this and check if it renders correctly on the UI. Okay, so it is rendering correctly. Now next thing, so as they mentioned, like in the row we need edit button. On click of edit, the text box, the td cell will convert to the editable one, if you can see, and the button will be replaced to update. Okay, so same thing we can do this. Now we just have a simple td, so let's create one div here and show the proper interpolation data here, and here we can use star ng if is equal to double quotes. So here we can use our variable show edit. Okay, so we have to show just in data only if this value is false. So we can use not, and second thing, if this variable is true, then we have to show the text box. So we can use input type text class. Again we can use form control. Placeholder we can use, what is it, employee id. Let's keep it short, id. Now we need to bind this with our ng model, right? So we need to use ng model. So what we need to bind here, employee.employee id, same thing. Okay, let's close it. So logic is simple. If this variable is true, we will show the td value. If it is if it is false, we will show the value. If it is true, we will show the text box with pre-filled value. Okay, so let's copy paste whole thing for remaining. Okay, so if you can see, I have created all the tds with respect to the same logic. If this variable is true, we will show the value. If it is if it is false, we will show just the value. If it is true, we will show the value within the text box. So it should be editable along with the different data binding mapping. Okay, so next thing is like we need two buttons. Let's add button first. Let's see what type of color they want. So that is green, so we blue, so we have to use button primary. Let's use button sm also, so it will be small. Let's create function call on click of it, edit, let's copy the second button. This will be update. Okay, so we already have created our functions edit emp. Let's use it here. Since it is function, round parenthesis will be there. Next is update emp. Okay, so let's save and check. We have some error. Let's see what is the error. Okay, so we missed one thing. We have used ng model, right? So to use ng model, it is necessary to add forms module in your app module. So we have to add forms module here in the import section. Forms module. Now we can use ng model in our Angular application. So it's compiling. Yes, so it is compiled successfully now. Our page will look like this. Now if you can see, both the values are visible. So we need to use our flag. Okay, so these are the buttons. So we have to show the edit button when this variable value show edit is false. Okay, and we have to show the update button if it is true. So let's save it now. So by default edit button is here. So on click of edit our function will be called, but since we have not changed that value, so we have to change it here. This dot edit emp is equal to true, and on this is correct, right? Show edit is there, and here we have to again make it false, so it will be non-editable. Let's check now. So on click of edit you can see we have all the TDs converted into text box. On click of update you will get the original one. So this is our third assignment. So we can check like populate to module, preferably as the details of the employee using structural ng for we have used. Okay, one more thing they have asked, like they need create a new directive folder. Okay, inside this folder they need to create a color directive. Add the logic of the color directive such that whenever mouse moves over in the row, that row must be highlighted. So they have shown the example like this. If mouse is here, that row should be validated, show will have a background color green. Okay, so let's now create a directive for that. I think we have to remove the class which we have applied, that is table dark. So we can use it here. Okay, so instead of whole table, I have removed that class and applied it on the tr. That is our header. VG dark for the background color black and text white for the fore color. So now we get this output. Now we just need to create one directive. Let's create one directive. Let me close this. So we need to create one folder, directives. Let's open a terminal over here. Ng generate directive. Let's see if they have provided a name for that. Yes, so they have provided name color. So let's create a directive of the same. Okay, so our directive is created. Okay, so selector name is app color. Now here we have to create a logic that will first require a host listener, and then using particular element we have to add the style. So let's search a little bit because I also don't remember the whole logic. So everything is available on internet. You just have to know what you have to search and you will get the exact code available there. Let's see. This is, so be cautious when you apply, since if you search only Angular, it might show you the result for AngularJS also. So you need to add 1, 2, 3, 4 or any version. Okay, so you can see I have created demo here. So we need one host listener, that is one click. So instead of click we need hover. Okay, so after constructor I am pasting it here. Host listener we need to add Okay, and this again method we need to use. So el I think we have to create. Let's use, let's say his code, what el he has created. Element ref, it is nothing but, so let's copy paste, it will save our time. Yes, element ref it has. So let's add element ref to our Angular core. Okay, this highlight color, so we need the static color that will be green. So let's apply this app color on our table tr. Let's add a console also if it is being executed or not. Try to, let's save everything. So we have to use hover. So I have again search something. So yeah, this is the event mouse over. Let's save. Yes, it is working. But the problem is it is not removing that background color when we move away from that tr. So we need again one event listener that will be mouse out. Okay, so here what we need to do, we need to remove that background color. So see, the first function that is on the mouse over. Okay, so we have created this highlight function which is just taking a parameter of the color and using the current DOM element using element ref. We are applying the style background color whatever the color we send. Okay, the next function on mouse out, whenever we move away from that particular tr, we are again calling this highlight function with the white color, and again that same applied green color will be removed with the white. Let's save and check now. Okay, so first green color is there. When I'm going away from this, that will again white color will be applied, and again I'm moving to the second tr, the first on over will be triggered. Okay, so this is all we have done. Let's check if anything is remaining. Let's see if they have mentioned any specific color. Yes, so I think it is done. So this is the basic assignment we have done. First, employ component creation, then table, showing data using ngFor, then creating a directive, and on click of edit, we have just shown everything. Okay, let's wrap up. Thank you.